In the book Pride and Prejudice, the main family is the Bennets: Mr. and Mrs. Bennet, Jane, Elizabeth, Mary, Catherine, and Lydia. A trait very important in the book is sense, and many characters in the book have no sense at all. For the purpose of this pedigree, we will assume sense or no sense is a simple Darwinian trait. In the book, Mr. Bennet has sense, but his wife, Mrs. Bennet, has no sense at all. Of the 5 daughters, only Jane and Elizabeth have sense. Mr. Darcy, who marries Elizabeth, also has sense, and we can assume Mr. Wickham has no sense at all because he married Lydia. For this pedigree, we will also assume that Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth had a daughter with sense, and Mr. Wickham and Lydia had a daughter with sense and a son with no sense. The first mode of inheritance is autosomal dominant. The trait we are interested in is the dominant allele, and the other trait will be the recessive allele. The phenotype sense in this case can either be a homozygous or a heterozygous genotype. In generation 3, Lydia and Mr. Wickham's offspring cannot have sense if they are both homozygous for nonsense, so we can for sure say this trait is not autosomal dominant. The next mode of inheritance is X-linked dominant. The trait we are interested in will be the dominant allele that is attached to the X chromosome. The other trait will be the recessive allele attached to the other X chromosome. The phenotype sense in this case can either be a homozygous or a heterozygous genotype. Males pass on X chromosomes to daughters and Y chromosomes to sons. Mr. Bennet must have an X chromosome with an uppercase N since he has sense. This creates an issue because then all his daughters must inherit sense. As you can see, Mary, Catherine, and Lydia have no sense, so we know this trait is not X-linked dominant. The next mode of inheritance is X-linked recessive. The trait we are interested in will be the recessive allele attached to the X chromosome, and the other trait will be the dominant allele attached to the other X chromosome. The phenotype sense in this case can only be homozygous recessive genotype. In this case, like in the previous, males pass on X chromosomes to daughters and Y chromosomes to sons. X-linked recessive males with nonsense cannot have daughters with sense. Mr. Wickham will pass on the uppercase N X chromosome to his daughter, and therefore she cannot have sense. So this trait cannot be X-linked recessive. The next mode of inheritance is Y-linked inheritance. This means that the trait is passed on through the Y chromosome of the father to his sons. Mr. Bennet has 2 daughters who have sense, but they could not have inherited that due to not having any Y chromosomes, so this trait cannot be Y-linked. The final mode of inheritance is autosomal recessive. The trait we are interested in is the recessive allele, and the other trait is the dominant allele. Therefore, the phenotype we are interested in can only occur when the genotype is homozygous recessive. This means that nonsense is the dominant trait and sense is the recessive trait. We can see this works perfectly for the Bennet family. Thanks for following along. I hope you learned a little about modes of inheritance.